Odette, I'm so pleased to have you here talking to me about Mary Frey's real life dramas.
Thank you, Kim. So, hello, I'm Odette England. I'm an artist and writer based in Providence, Rhode Island, and in New York.
So, would you like to talk about the image on the cover?
Sure. I want to be there. And in fact, more than want to be there, I want to put on one of those red and black striped sweaters and be part of the scene that Mary introduces us to here. I'm waylaid a little by those words, real life dramas, and how a photograph is an image of a moment in real life, but suddenly it becomes labored with fiction at the moment that it's taken.
And it's a dramatic real life. I think there's something, you're absolutely right. Every time the camera comes into the room, people start playing to the camera.
I love that idea of performing real life, because one thing I thought of with this image particularly, and then throughout the book, is that Mary seems to be noticing both the appearance of these people that she knows and then their performance for her. Oh, I would love to look at this image here of the figure cleaning the floor and looking to screen. It's one of actually a sequence of many pictures in the book where there's a lot of chores going on, right? There's a lot of washing, there's grooming. And it's one of the first images where I start to think this feels like it's also a book of maintenance, right? It's a book of maintenance of the self, a maintenance of the family, maintenance of domesticity, of socialization, of gender roles, like who cooks, who cleans, who looks after the children, who do we care for and who do we care about. And there's this care element that I feel like comes from both the person being photographed here, witnessing, doing something that probably ordinarily would not be photographed, versus the care of Mary's eye, noticing her friend or her family member in this case, actually performing a task with care.
I love the eye contact in this photo at the beach.
Yes. There's two contacts happening. There's presumably the mother sitting with the water cooler or drink cooler on her lap. And then to the left, there's another figure looking somewhat unimpressed that a photograph is being made.
And again, thinking to the large format camera, like these feel like such spontaneous reactions. And yet to be reminded that this picture took a lot of time is wonderful to have captured that feeling of spontaneity despite the presence of the camera.
If I was thinking about this as a snapshot or a family photograph, I can imagine it being critiqued and not even making it into an album. And juice. Like there's nothing special happening here. And yet every family event, to some extent, whether photographed or not, is a special, unique occurrence. It's just whether or not we care to photograph it, we care to think of it in that way.
I love this pair of pictures that's, again, poolside, one woman who's standing talking to another who's seated, and you have her with her cigarette at her side and then her cigarette at her mouth. And just the fact of including both of those pictures is so shocking after an entire book of different pictures, different scenes, different characters. But it's so true to the way we actually take pictures, especially if you have a little bit of training in photography, you bracket your exposure or you take another one just to make sure that the focus was correct. And so here you get to see both.
You're so right. It's a wonderful example of the act of making photographs, right? That we take an heir and a spare. And I remember my granddad saying that to me as a child, always an heir and a spare, Odette, just in case the other one doesn't work out.
I love this kitchen image. It's such a perfect moment. It reminds me of like Martha Rosler bringing the war home.
Yes.
It has the same sort of color. This is, we've done away with the brocade and the 70s colors. We've moved into the 80s.
Right.
But we're not quite sure who the person is.
No, exactly. And we're back to chores and domesticity and Also makes me think about where we photograph in interior spaces, because it's the public spaces that tend to get the most use, like a lounge room, a kitchen, a dining room. Very rarely do we photograph in a bedroom or a much less a bathroom or a pantry or a basement. And these are
Hmm.
all places that Mary has effortlessly in the book takes us and guides us through.
Yeah, almost the last picture in the book.
Right. And then there's a little text. There was a terrible unreality about the situation, as if nothing was happening.
I love the mixing of tenses in that it's past and
Mm.
ongoing. There were these situations and something is still happening.
Right, which feels like the photographs themselves, that the tenses change. There's a past, there's a present, there's a future, there's a drama unfolding.
And there we are. That is real life dramas. Thank you so much for taking the time to look at it with me and to inspire the continuation of some of these real life dramas.
Thank you. It's been so much fun. I've enjoyed it thoroughly.